So now we're in the E cage shape playing our trusty D chord. And if you take a look at this shape, you have obviously the major pentatonic. There's the first octave. Let's look at the second octave. Now, if we start to take those notes and play thirds or fourths, that gives us a lot of material to work from. So I'll take the D, play it as a third, or I could play it as a fourth. I could take the E, play it as a third, play it as a fourth. And remember, these are diatonic. These thirds and fourths come from the key. So if you're playing a note that's not in the key of D major, you're not playing it right. There's the F sharp minor. And then strictly staying in the pentatonic, we would then be getting up through our B and our D notes, okay? But what I like to sometimes do is add a fourth to this. So I might add a G note, which is taken from the D major scale. So we get a nice collection of thirds and fourths. All right, finishing on that A note with the D on top, which is a fourth. Now, how you can use that is if you take a really familiar sounding Jimi Hendrix, Curtis Mayfield kind of feel like... Now that has been used in about 300 songs. Don't quote me on the 300. But basically, it's a fourth, adding a third, back to a suspended 2 chord, where we've seen that a couple of videos ago, back to a third. Okay, so that beautiful bit of motion you get there is a combination of thirds, fourths, and a sus2. Now, if I'm going to start with that, maybe I'll do a question and answer kind of motif. You know, you kind of think of that as a blues technique, but even for rhythm playing, you can play some rhythmic idea, answer it, repeat the rhythmic idea and answer it, especially when you're using double stops and these slinky little guitar parts. So let's work this up. Now let's answer it. So there's a fourth, a third, and a third. Now I feel like I should go back and repeat the opening phrase. Then let's get into the higher register. Let's do a third, another third, a third, and then a fourth. And the only thing I'm sort of keeping in mind as I do this is I want to finish on that high D, because that's our root of the key. But you don't have to. That's just what I was hearing as an answer to this melody. So as we play this over the backing track, we'll have something like... and then repeat it. That seems fairly self-contained. Again, that's quite a complex little rhythmic idea. You could simplify that a lot. You could just play... and that would be enough. You know, you've got to listen to the song. The song is going to dictate what you want to do. I'm just trying to throw some of these things in here to show you what's possible. Another thing you could do is, instead of playing the chord and the first fill, what if you just played some sort of lead line out of D? And then fill around that with the fourths and the thirds. Play a similar lead lick. See, and then is it rhythm guitar? Is it lead guitar? It's both. And that, you know, to me, that's much more interesting than just playing a pentatonic scale or just playing a big bar chord, okay? So now we're going to take the track and I'm going to combine thirds and fourths in that E cage position to come up with a nice melodic idea that you can jam along with.